The situation in Ukraine has reached a critical and tense crossroads, and Vladimir Putin's recent statements after his meeting in Beijing only deepen the divide. But here's where it gets controversial. Putin has doubled down on his hardline stance, sending a stark warning to the West that any deployment of troops, yes, even so-called peacekeepers, into Ukraine will be met with force. If foreign soldiers set foot there, Putin declared, especially amid ongoing combat, we will consider them legitimate targets for destruction. The reaction to this was telling. At the Economic Forum in Vladivostok, the room erupted in applause. Russian officials and business leaders seemed to embrace this aggressive message, signaling strong domestic support for Putin's uncompromising position. Watching this, I couldn't help but feel a chill. This wasn't just political posturing. It was a clear message of intent. This moment came just a day after Kyiv's allies, often referred to as the Coalition of the Willing, promised to establish a post-war reassurance force to help stabilize Ukraine. The contrast couldn't be starker. Putin also suggested he might be open to talks with Ukraine's president, Volodymyr Zelensky, but only if those talks happen on Russian soil. The best place for this is the Russian capital, in Hero City, Moscow, he said. Outside Russia, this proposal has been widely dismissed as unserious, a political stunt rather than a genuine offer. But it perfectly captures the Kremlin's current mindset. Peace is desirable, but only if it comes on Russia's terms. Reject those terms, and peace is off the table. What's driving this rigid stance? Several factors come into play. First, the Kremlin believes its military still holds the upper hand on the battlefield in Ukraine. Second, Putin's recent diplomatic engagements, especially in China, have been carefully orchestrated to showcase Russia's powerful allies. China, India, North Korea, sending a message that Russia is far from isolated. Then there's the role of the United States. Last month, former President Donald Trump invited Putin to Alaska for a summit, an event that pro-Kremlin voices hailed as proof that Western attempts to isolate Russia have failed. Trump has made bold statements, setting ultimatums and threatening sanctions to push Russia toward peace. Yet, he has not followed through decisively, which only seems to embolden Moscow. Putin has publicly praised Trump's peace efforts, but has simultaneously rejected ceasefire proposals and shown no willingness to compromise on the war. This paradox leaves the prospects for peace murky at best. Recently, Putin mentioned seeing light at the end of the tunnel. But here's the catch. Russia and Ukraine, along with Europe and, to some extent, the US, appear to be traveling down entirely different tunnels, heading toward very different destinations. Ukraine and its allies are focused on ending the conflict, securing guarantees for Kyiv's safety, and ensuring the Ukrainian military remains strong enough to deter future invasions. Meanwhile, Putin's vision of light seems to point toward a Russian victory and the establishment of a new global order that favors Moscow's interests. So when and where will these divergent paths meet? That's the million-dollar question. Is there a realistic chance for peace when the two sides are so fundamentally misaligned? Or is this stalemate a prelude to further conflict? What do you think? Is Putin's approach a firm defense of Russian interests or a dangerous gamble that risks prolonging the war? Share your thoughts below. Do you agree with his stance, or do you see a different path forward for peace in Ukraine?